Okay, so this is a 2008 BMW X5, and as you heard, the noise is coming from the front suspension. When you go over any bumps at all, it was like really just a lot of clunking noises going on. We didn't get a chance to take the video of this portion of it before the repair, but just wanted to show you what we ended up doing. We ended up finding that the struts were damaged. The bushings at the top of the strut mounts were damaged, and you can see the top of the bolt right there. That's the strut bolt that comes through the mount. Basically what was happening is when the car would go over bumps, or even when you push down on the bumper, like standing still right now, it would you could see that nut travel a good inch or so up and down, and that shouldn't happen. That should all be tied tightly to the car, but since it was moving, that means that the bushings that were inside that mount had deteriorated to the point where there was that much play, and every time we'd go over a bump, you hear the clunking of the metal hitting metal. Same thing was happening on the other side. If you look right in there, it's kind of hard to see behind the AC lines there, but it's basically the same concept there. The bushing, there's a slight bit of foam backing, you can see right in there, it's like yellow. That foam was all deteriorated, and I'll show you that in a minute when the old shocks, but basically, or old strut mounts, but basically that was the problem. And once we replaced these, car rides smooth, really tight, and very, very quiet. Okay, so this was the strut that we replaced, and you can see here all the foam had pretty much deteriorated, and under pressure, when this squeezes, this part moves a good inch or so, maybe half to an inch, and every time the car would hit a bump, you would hear this loud clunking noise. That's where it was coming from. Well, that's the driver's side, and then the passenger side, you can see it deteriorated a good bit, but not completely. But also, it wasn't letting it move easily. It was moving a little bit there, but not well, and she's starting to go as well. While we were doing it, we also discovered that the sway bar end links were damaged. They were pretty bad, so we went ahead and replaced both of them too. They were just as bad, and that was pretty much it. Once we replaced those, the car rides really smooth and nice. And this was an entire kit we bought. You could replace just the mounts, but that turned out to be like about $360 or so, and we ended up finding these from A1 Auto for about $250, I think it was, and they come with a lifetime warranty. So we went ahead and just decided to replace the whole unit. Made the job a lot easier. But you can replace just the mounts. You'd have to do is, once you get them out, you have to get the spring compressors, compress them, remove this, and then take all this out, put the new bushing that's inside here, put the new bushing outside, and I think this rubber piece gets replaced. So there's like 3 or 4 pieces that you have to buy, including this this plastic cover here. It all comes in a kit. Like I said, it's around $360 for just the kits. We ended up getting the entire strut assemblies for $250 for the pair, so that was actually a better deal. Time will tell how good they are, but they're lifetime warranted. So, and the reviews are really, really good on Amazon. We ended up buying them directly from A1's website because they were cheaper there. So far, good luck, and it was decent service. They came in really fast.
Yeah, everything here wants this to go up.
So you remove the sway bar end link, and you're removing the wishbone and the pinch bolt at the bottom of the strut and the bolt at the bottom of the strut mount. Once those are removed, you should be able to take the 3 bolts at the top of the strut power, those 3 out, and then the assembly should drop. Sand it. Pinch bolts coming out. And then this brake line also has to be disassembled. just a little clamp right here that could just come out. This lifts up. It's a small flat screwdriver inside the little cavity there. Pry it up, comes up fairly easily. And you just move that out of the way. And then you want to disconnect the brake line sensor, brake sensor. Get that out of the way. Also want to be careful of the brake lines, because once the wishbone is disconnected up here, the whole assembly wants to travel downward pretty fast, and it pulls on the brake line a bit. Okay, so we've got the rotor supported with a jack, a good bit of tension there, and then what we're doing is we're going to loosen up the wishbone bolt up here. We're going to hold the nut with an adjustable wrench on the other side. And what's the millimeter on the socket? 16 millimeter socket. And you want to be careful here. You do want to have the support of the jack on the rotor, because if you don't, what ends up happening is that bolt will strip because of all the stress of the weight of the rotor pulling it down, and the wishbone is actually wanting to spring upward, so that bolt will strip once you get it loose. It won't come out easily, so we're hoping that having the weight of the jack will help us get it out easily. We did strip the one side, and we ended up going to Home Depot and getting another bolt. Hopefully this one will come out easily. Yep, it did. Okay, so this one's not going to be damaged. And then once this is done, we're going to release the jack slowly, and we're going to let this whole assembly go slowly downward. You want to be careful. This is an X-drive model, so the drive shaft is connected, and it will want to go down, and it will want to pull outward. The other side, we had the CV joint move a little bit, and we had to position it back. No damage that we know of, so I think we're okay. See how it just separated? I mean, it's a little tricky putting it back together, but you have to be patient and you can get it back. So now they're holding it like this. One person's holding it, the other person's making sure they can get everything else dismantled. Here we forgot the brake line. And once we get that done, we should be able to start pulling on the strut out. This is the brake assembly, the clip that holds the brake line in, coming out. I think I pushed on this last time.
Pushed on something. Whatever it is not working now.
Because I said it's going to come out pretty easily, that's why. Put that in video and then it doesn't come out that easily. Because you do that. Alright. So now we're just slowly going to try to pull this strut out. Did you get the screws loose yet? Not yet. Okay.
You don't have to hide it from me. It takes a lot of fiddling. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we can do that. Yeah, it's probably.
And then I'm trying to do sideways too. So I don't know if I can do it, but so here's what I'm seeing. When you got one and the others weren't wanting to line up. But on the other side, they went in pretty easily. Are the others close? There we go. It's in.
There we go. Oh, I can't. It went up.
The trick here is to get the wishbone ball joint into the socket and then hold it at the same time while you're tightening the bolt. It's also tricky to get it in there, so you have to play with the position of the height of the jack.
Can you just hold it for me?
Lowering a little bit actually helped.
Just do this.
Once you get it started, it's not that bad. Okay. So it takes a little bit of work to get it and hold it in place while you get it tightened down, but once you get it done, it should look like that. As I mentioned previously, when we were doing the wishbone mount, we accidentally left the wishbone up or unsuspended, the rotor unsuspended, and what ended up happening was the bolt that you see here is the original bolt, was damaged when we were taking it out. The other side is where we damaged it, so I'm going to take you around. I'll show you. This is what the new bolt looks like, because we ended up going to Home Depot and getting a bolt to put through. But we basically just damaged the threads on this when we were pulling it out. So the trick to not do that is basically make sure this portion of it is suspended up like this from the rotor when you've got the jack on it. And that'll keep the pressure on this and keep it from falling. And that'll make the bolt easier to get out, and also you don't damage it. Other than that, you want to inspect these ball joints when you're doing it. I have seen videos where people reporting that these were bad and they caused the clunking, but ours looks like either they were replaced or they're in very good shape, so we didn't have any issues there. Everything else was great.